let's go ahead and do it. Okay, let's. I'm going to call the meeting to order for the Oxnard Community Service, Public Service Housing, and Community Development Committees. And roll call.
Mayor Pro Tem McDonald,
Here.
Councilmember Madrigal,
Here.
Mayor Zaragoza.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, our next item is the Pledge of Allegiance to their flag. And as I mentioned before, I'd like to this evening to have a moment of silence to honor the police officers who died as a result of the incident at the Capitol in Washington, D.C. And also like to share with a lot of grief today that my one of my family members, my son's brother-in-law, passed away this afternoon from COVID. And his name is Rudy Perez Jr. So with that in mind, we'll have our city attorney lead us in the pledge. Ken? Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay. I don't believe we have any public comments at this time. So our next item is going to be then the approval of the minutes for October the 13th for the Community Service Committee. So do we have a motion for that?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I would think that since all of us weren't at each of these meetings, that we could just do it all at one time, and it is permissible to vote in favor of approving of the minutes, even though we weren't there, as long as we have a belief that they are true, accurate, and correct.
Okay.
So I would suggest we just do them all at once.
Okay. So what's the pleasure of the board? I'll move the motion. Go
I
ahead.
would move approval of all three.
Second.
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 So that was Oscar, second?
Yes.
Okay, this is second. First by Mayor Pro Tem and second by Oscar. Roll call?
Mayor Pro Tem McDonald,
Yes.
Councilmember Madrigal,
Yes.
Mayor Zaragoza.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Okay, our next item is Housing Department. This is the Housing Department Authority Rethink and Renew Initiative. And we have Mr. Emilio Ramirez.
We're not doing D2. The park master plan.
Yes.
First one up is item D1 for the item on the Oxnard Housing Authority Rethink and Renew.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's the first item.
First item, yes. So if there's any questions for Mr. Ramirez, he is on the line, but in compliance with Measure M, we're not doing a presentation.
Okay.
I apologize. I'm not used to seeing D1 come after D2 on the agenda. I missed that.
So is a presentation next?
In compliance with Measure M, we won't be doing a
Oh, no,
presentation.
okay.
So,
So
and
is
there's
there any-
no, yeah. So
Any questions or any concerns? Seeing none?
Actually,
we
I have a
some-
question.
Okay.
Are there any public speakers or just right on to council comments?
We have some public speak. No?
Oh.
Let me see. D1. No, none at all, right? No. None at all.
Okay. All right. No, I do have one question. I understand now that, we're kind of delayed by like 12 months. I know that we're going to be working with HUD. And just a little clarifying question. Are we going to be working with HUD here in the LA area or, working with HUD directly all the way in DC?
Councilman Emilio Ramirez, Housing Director. Actually, we are working with our HUD field representative from the LA office. He actually lives in Oxnard. So we're working with him. But in reality, we're working with a consultant that HUD is going to assign to us after we sign the agreement. And that consultant has not yet been completely identified, but I believe they're going to be from Texas.
Oh, no, perfect. Thank you very much, Mr. Ramirez.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions on this item? Mr. Ramirez and I fairly new with this rethink item, and so really don't have many questions at this time.
Thank you.
So do we need a motion for that item?
It's a receive and file, so it's not going on to city council, so you can just accept the report or update.
So we just receive and file.
Correct.
Okay, so no motion on that. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Mayor?
Ramirez.
Thank you.
We have the public speaker on the line now.
Oh, we do? We got him? Okay, I'm sorry. We do
Yes.
have a public speaker. And who is that? Is that
That is Pat Brown.
got 3 minutes? Go ahead.
Okay. Miss Pat Brown? You have 3 minutes. Thank you.
This is Pat Brown. And I'm rethinking. I think that's a great idea because I think we've gone a little too far, a little too fast, and we may be wishing we hadn't later. What I'm rethinking is the housing that we want to put in for low income and people that don't have jobs and whatnot, just to get them off the streets and whatnot. I think we need to think about where we want to place this, not for now, but for future. For the future of the city and what's it going to look like. And all of the people who have businesses, like for instance on Oxnard Boulevard, if they decide they want to sell out or whatever and somebody else comes in and they want to put in some real nice businesses like they have on the north side of the freeway to attract a lot more business to the city and a lot of people coming here for recreation and visitation and that sort of thing. Is that what we want? Is to have the lowest of the low-income housing mixed in with that. Do we want that, or do we want them at another location? I think we need to, while we're rethinking, I think we need to rethink that as to what the future of the developments is going to be, and how they're going to deal with what may happen around them or wants to happen around them. So just some thoughts. It might not have occurred to anybody else yet, because we're just getting started. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Emilio, one quick question. I just thought about this. I think I read in there in the report that you're going to meet with all the stakeholders regarding not only the housing, but also Section 8 and so forth. Are you having good luck on that meeting with the stakeholders?
We started, but we haven't finished. And yeah, so far it's going well. So far we're getting a lot of constructive criticism and a lot of advice. And we were in the midst of doing that, but we have delayed that while we're waiting for HUD to do their agreement.
And I can't recall how long is the rethink and renew? What's the timeline on it?
Originally, the plan was to have the effort completed in time for us to amend and submit our administrative plan, which is due to HUD at the end of the fiscal year. That would have been finishing in around May, submitted in June. Okay. At this point, our plan is to do that exact same thing for next year. So submit the administrative plan in 2022, in July of 2022.
So you had some concerns also with COVID trying to meet with the individuals. Is that correct?
Actually, it worked well to do it virtually, and we
Mhm.
had met with a variety of landlords and participants and tenants. Um, so we were well on our way. But since HUD offered to pay for this consultant and we thought it was a valuable thing, we agreed to delay the action.
Okay, thank you. Any additional concerns or comments for? If not, then we can continue then, Ashley. Okay.
Correct. We can move on to item D2.
Item D2, and that's the Public Works Department, and that's the update on the Parks and Recreation Master Plan. And that's Rosemary.
There's no presentation, Mayor.
Correct. Brian Yanas and Steve Hallett are, and Tatiana, as well as the consultant team, are all online. If there's any questions of staff, if not, the presentation was put
What's
online.
put online?
Uh-huh.
Is there any questions or? Any
I just have a
concerns?
comment if you have the
Go
moment.
ahead. Mayor Pro Tem, go ahead.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to speak on this. It was a rather voluminous report. It took a while to get through it. A lot of information. The one thing that I was pleased to see in there is the fact that we're still considering lifeguards on the beach area. My understanding is that Oxnard is the only public beach between Santa Barbara and Ventura County lines that doesn't have lifeguards at least part of the year. And this includes Wainimi, the state beaches, Ventura beaches, everywhere else. And this is something I have repeatedly asked for. Funding has been a challenge. And I know that at one time we had a large plan for lifeguards, and we scaled it back for the more public areas, such as Fifth to Mandalay, Neptune Square, behind Mandalay Beach Resorts. And so I would really like to see this be a priority going forward if we're able to develop the financial resources to get this type of program online. I think that if we're going to have a good, safe public beach, that lifeguards are an integral part of that. And certainly our fire department does a good response in responding to calls for service there, but it is a delayed response because they're out of the area. Station 6 is the closest one off of Peninsula, so it takes a little bit of time to get there. And if it's a water rescue or anything of that nature, they have to bring special equipment with them. With lifeguards, we would have that personnel and equipment in place and able to respond much more quickly. So, but all in all, I thought it was very, very good. All the high points that I look for, I saw in there. So I just want to thank staff for bringing this forward to us, letting us take a look at it.
Mayor Pro Tem, my apologies. Here I jumped in. This is your committee, and you're the chair, so my apologies.
That's okay. Go ahead and wrap it up, and we'll figure it out next time.
I'm sorry. I have one question, and the question is, I've had a lot of the soccer individuals and men's soccer teams that have talked to me about having a park dedicated for them, or to work with them, and potentially they were looking at College Park. Have we looked into that at all and see how we can accommodate those individuals? Because I understand that they were playing at different locations, and they were, for lack of a better word, didn't let them play in a particular park because of undesirable people that were there and so forth. But according to those individuals, they asked me that if they had an opportunity to.
Yes, this is Kurt Culbertson with Design Workshop.
Uh-huh.
In the actions recommended in the master plan, there was specific discussion of soccer complex at College Park. Much of our community input expressed the concern about challenges of access to soccer. In addition to soccer improvements at College Park, we had also recommended re-examining the city's lighting policy in order to extend hours
Okay.
in the summer months, where you do have soccer fields, and a long-term consideration for a a sports-specific park as well over time. So I think the concerns you heard expressed are something we've heard through the process loud and strong and made specific recommendations around.
So you're working on that. Is that?
Well, we're your consultant to this effort, but I think we had actually recommended some of our key findings were soccer complex at College Park, looking at extending lighting. So you have better use of the fields that you already have, and then consideration of a 20-acre specific sports park to further meet the needs for soccer and other field sports.
Okay, well, thank you. Then maybe
And-
we'll talk some more on that. Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, I hear the same concern between soccer players and also baseball players. Those seem to be the two huge demand sports that we experience the most. And I believe there may be a couple of public speakers for this item also.
Okay, then I'll let you go take over. My apologies again for. Okay, Mayor Pro Tem, it's your committee. My apologies.
You go ahead and wrap it up, sir. We're almost done now. If you just want to call
Yeah.
the public speakers, I don't know who they are.
So
well-
we do have some public speakers. Yes.
I can see too, Councilman Madrigal's trying to raise his hand on there a few times as well.
Council member.
I'm sorry.
I'll just wait after the public speakers.
Okay. So Rose, Madam Clerk, we have, was it Pat Brown again? Pat Brown and then Roger Portier. Okay, so 3 minutes for Pat Brown.
Ms. Brown?
And I don't know if Gabe Tran might be out there also.
Ms. Brown?
All right.
You have 3 minutes.
Okay. I seem to remember back about maybe 20 years ago or so, maybe it was 15 years ago, when we were going to put in a high post lighting and have a down at College Park, we were going to have a baseball was going to be happening at night, and they wanted to enlarge the area and so forth, so that they were going to use. It was a long time ago. It must be at least 15 or 20 years ago. Anyway, because of the housing that is around the area, they just had a conniption fit about this lighting for at night and how bright it was expected to be at that time. Now, we may, since then, in all these years, we may have come up with a possibility of a lighting system that will do what it needs to do, but not be any more than that, and avoid the excess light for the housing in the general area. Could that happen? I don't know, but I think it's something that should be thought about, because you've got a pretty heavy population in there, single family housing, and then there's apartments and that sort of thing that are nearby as well. So, and when you got apartments that are 2 and 3 stories high, the lighting that's there that may not mean that much to the people that are on the ground level, but when you get up and it's coming directly in their windows, because that's the height of the lights, at night into their bedrooms and so forth. I mean, everybody would have to have the curtains, special curtains that block out the light for night and whatnot. I mean, this could be a major problem. So, I think, though, that the idea is great, because we obviously know. I mean, you're watching it on television, anyway, you're watching others. So if we could have it here, that would be great. But I'm just very concerned about the lighting at night, and the noise, and how it will affect anything that will affect the housing in the general area. But the space is there, should be used actually. we shouldn't have any extra space that's not used for either the sports activities or parking or picnicking or
Your time
something.
is up.
You know,
Thank you,
we
Pat.
don't want any weed patches.
Thank you, Pat. Thank you for your input. One of the things that I like to mention too is that I understand that over in Camarillo that they have, I think Camarillo Airport, they have quite a few soccer fields that they've used, and also I understand in Ventura that they also have soccer. I think it's Kimball that they have. Just for information, that maybe we'd look at that and see how we can accommodate those folks. So Mayor Pro Tem, anything else?
I think we have Roger Poirier waiting to speak, and I also believe Gabe
Yeah.
Turan is out there waiting to speak.
I'm Pat. Right, we have Roger. Okay, Roger for 3 minutes.
Mr. Roger, can you hear me?
Okay, there we go.
You have 3 minutes.
Hi, thank you, Mr. Chair McDonald and Mayor Zaragoza and Council Member Oscar Madrigal. My name is Roger Poirier. I'm on the Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Commission. I'm one of 2 or 3 commissioners who started the process of creating this master plan several years ago, and it's been quite an experience. It's been exhilarating and challenging. We've been all over the city. We've talked to a whole lot of people and gotten a lot of good information in, and the result is the document that you've been looking at. The commission, the Parks and Rec Commission, has made suggestions on this document several times over the last couple of years, and it's a big document, so it takes a while to get around to all the possible changes to make. And then there's the fact that the commission can only meet once a month to talk about stuff as a group. So that slowed things down for us anyway. But at our December meeting, we had quite a good conversation with staff and the consultant, design workshop. And they've adjusted the master plan based on our comments. And we're going to, I hope to hear any of your input tonight. And then we're actually bringing back the master plan to the Parks and Rec Commission for our final comments at our January meeting. And that should hopefully launch this thing to City Council and get it published. It is right now, I mean, it's better than 90%, I'd say. It's more like a 95% document. There are some tweaks that we're going to recommend, some corrections. It is a big document, so there's a lot of things to consider and look at. But overall, it's been really great to work with the public works staff, particularly Eric Hummel, who's been with this thing from the very beginning, and also Brian Yanis, who came in and jumped right in and helped wrestle this thing down on the ground. This thing, it is kind of a living document.
30 seconds.
Because as these other master plans kind of get folded into or integrate with this Parks and Rec master plan, for instance, the bike and ped master plan, the Santa Clara River Trail master plan, and even the general plan, this Parks and Rec master plan should evolve along with these other master plans as they come together, and particularly as we build out these new parks, as population grows. We're going to want to revisit this thing from time to time and just keep it as a visionary document that keeps everybody moving forward. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Roger, and thank you again for your service and the volunteerism with the Parks Commission. Thank you so much. So, Mayor Pro Tem, we have one more. Gabriel Teran is our next speaker. Gabriel?
Mr. Teran?
Yes.
You have 3 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Chair McDonald and committee members. I wanted to make sure I got that one right. I'm Gabe Teran. I'm speaking tonight as a commissioner on the Parks, Recreation, Community Services Commission. And our chair, Roger Poirier, just spoke before me. And I can't really add much more beyond what he said. He really covered a lot of it in a great way in the 3 minutes that he had. But I do just want to reiterate that our commission will be revisiting this at our January meeting at the end of this month. And we and city staff and the consultant have been through multiple iterations of this. And I want to give full credit to city staff for really digging into this and doing their due diligence to have it be a document that's reflective of our community and how this can really best serve the residents of Oxnard. And I want to tip my hat to the consultants as well, because they've worked incredibly hard on this, as you can see. And as was mentioned, it is a large document. And as was mentioned before, the importance of integrating this document with other existing master plans, such as the bike and pedestrian master plan, or even the general plan, it's important that these are not siloed efforts. These all should complement each other and really fit together like pieces of a puzzle. And this is the opportunity that we have to make sure that that happens with this document, because even though it has the ability to kind of guide us with our parks and our recreation offerings for our community, it also can help complement other areas that we're working on as a city. And unfortunately, we hear in the news about bike and pedestrian incidents that happen. We just had, unfortunately, a gentleman who passed away just a few days ago at 5 Points. And I hear those things and I think about, what can we be doing as a city to mitigate these things and make it more bike friendly, recreation friendly, but also make it so that all of these documents and things we have aren't just ending up on shelves, that they are truly going to serve the city and the residents well. And I think this document will allow us to do that moving forward. So I invite the committee to take a look at the previous Parks, Recreation, Community Services Commission meeting we had last month, as well as previous meetings where we've discussed the document. And I'm looking forward to the next steps we have with this. We're almost to the finish line with it. So that being said, again, thank you to the city staff and thank you to the consultant for all the work they've put into this, especially Mr. Eric Hummel and Mr. Brian Yanez and Rosemary. And thank you for your time tonight. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Gabe. And again, thank again the staff and the consultant and all the work. This is just monumental amount of work looking at it. And do you believe that I read the whole thing last night? No.
I do. You're a
Yeah.
speed reader.
No, thank you, Rosemary, and all the staff for. I mean, this is monumental. The amount of work that, and this was started back a couple of years, right? Maybe 2-3 years ago, and this is a tremendous amount of work. And thank again the Parks Commission and all the individuals that worked on it. I think it's important, and again, we want to thank Roger for sharing his information. Mayor Pro Tem, what do you think?
I think it was great. I read it over the weekend and it was a 3 cup of coffee reading. So
Okay, so then
I believe Oscar had comments too. I believe.
Oscar, go ahead.
Thank you. Real quickly, obviously, we are an older city. So, we don't have that advantage of having open land and, building a park near, where there's no homes, like, Camarillo Airport or, Kimball Park. And, that, doesn't really, help us, especially with like, somewhat of a bigger stadium or bigger lighting facility. I know that any neighborhood here in Oxnard that has a high school, they do complain on Friday nights when there is during football season because of the lighting. I hear complaints in West Village. There are complaints down Wainimi. There's complaints at College Estates neighborhood. So you do have those issues with lighting. However, I don't think us as a city are planning anything with that huge of a lighting structure. Living near 2 parks, actually. If I were to drive down First Street right now, Colonia Park is pitch black. That doesn't attract anything good that could happen there. So I do think that we do need better lighting at our parks. We need lighting for later on in the evening, especially in the summer. I think that'll alleviate a lot of the issues that we have with the soccer situation. I know soccer is a very popular sport in our city, and I think that city staff's been working hard the last 2 years and trying to alleviate that, and I think they've been doing a great job at it. But at the same time, I think having lighting at parks will help us out greatly because it opens up time. Okay. The thing that we're lacking, we may not be lacking fields. I think what we're lacking is time. Um, no, and under normal circumstances, we all work, and I get it. Um, I don't have kids, but I understand the plight of people raising kids, and I understand them putting them in sports. So I understand that there is issues with lighting. It's not only soccer, but it's also baseball or softball. You have fields, especially here in the city. I know that baseball is probably our second most popular sport, and we're losing baseball fields all throughout the city. Um, some of the fields aren't in use. Sometimes, you were able to use some of the Oxnard School District fields, and those fields are pretty much non-existent now. They just it's nothing but a grass field now. And back to the park master plan. It was great that all three of our main community parks are mentioned. The three parks that need work. We have College Park, Campus Park, and Sports Park. My big thing, I'm a big proponent. I do think that we need more baseball fields in the city. I would personally prefer them at College Estates, at College Park, I'm sorry, because, that's what that was promised with them, as Miss Brown said about, 20 years ago. I think it'll be a great place. I know that, they're kind of put on to Sports Park. However, because the way Sports Park is laid out in an L, how convenient will that be to build baseball fields at Sports Park? So, you're going to have issues like that. Was that taken into consideration? How many baseball fields can we put on there? I know that it was mentioned Camarillo. I've gone to, baseball tournaments for, Pony League or Little League. And they're able to use, a large park, and they're also able to use playgrounds from the elementary school. And they have about 6-7 games going on at once. So I understand that, I wish, we're not asking for big lighting. We're asking for lighting just like Eastwood Park. Eastwood Park, I want to thank the neighborhood. I know sometimes it's a hassle during baseball season, but, they've always, stepped up to the plate. And, I've talked to people within the North or the previous North Oxnard Baseball League. Now they're just the Oxnard Baseball League. And, it's something that they have, if it was convenient, they would have a bigger field for them to play. But, that's what they have. They take care of their fields. They have wonderful lighting. So that's something that, we're using the land the best that we can. If all things were considered the same, it would be great, that if the city had the money and the resources that, we just build a giant, athletic park right between Rice and Del Norte off the freeway. Obviously we don't have those type of resources, but that's something that would please everybody. You could have soccer and baseball there, and it'll be convenient for everybody because it's right off the freeway. You don't have to worry about lighting. Unfortunately, that's not the case. I want to thank everyone who worked on this. Obviously, people are going to have issues, concerns, but at the end of the day, that is a lot of heavy lifting on your part. So I want to thank everybody that was involved in doing the park master plan. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem, I have another information that I have here in my notes that apparently the park there at Del Sol at night, that we have lights there for that park, and apparently the soccer folks cannot use it at nighttime. What's happening there? Any concerns regarding those lights there in Colonia and Del Sol Park? or maybe staff might be able to answer that question.
Hey, this is Brian Yanas, Assistant Public Works Director, Committee Chair, committee members. Del Sol Park definitely has a soccer stadium, which does consist of lights. Maybe Terrell can assist with us in regards to the usage of that. Participants and teams go through recreation to gain access to some of our facilities in regards to practice and playing fields throughout our community.
I think that would help us a lot if some of those people could use that Del Sol Park, especially in the evenings after the people get off of work or maybe weekends. But my
Yeah.
understanding is they cannot use it after, or the lights are not available in the evening. Is that correct? Maybe Terrell can.
No, Chair, and I think there's two different issues here.
Okay.
One of them is practice, and the other one is competition. For competition play, the lights are actually available, and the lights are always available. I think what they may be speaking of is the lights outside of the stadium and the lights in the park where they are able and they practice. So that's what I believe. Whoever posed that question, I'd be more than happy to speak to them
Okay.
about that. But that's usually what the issue is.
I'll get together with you on that then. And the last thing that Mayor Pro Tem would like to share is I think that park master plan is great because I really want to see those parks nice and green again for the families to enjoy. And I think that's a health and safety issue that's so important for the community to have those parks nice and green again, and people go out and have barbecues and have the kids play ball and run around. So I think that's extremely important. So thank you for that. I don't think, Mayor Pro Tem, I don't think we have any other speakers. So this item is good. Go ahead.
I would see, just to receive and file, I would say, are there items for future agendas?
Okay, so with that in mind, so we don't vote on that, Ashley.
It is just an update. You can choose to forward it. It's going to the council as
Well,
the
so we
report
forward it
indicates.
anyway?
It can go to council. It's scheduled for, like they said, Parks and Rec Commission, and it's scheduled for your council in February. That can go with or without a recommendation. The subject and
So-
recommendation was just to receive an update.
Okay, so we're good then. So then we're ready to adjourn. Is that correct, Mayor Pro Tem?
Fine by me if there's no items for future agendas.
No, none at all, right? Is there a?
Councilman Madrigal, do you have any items for future agendas?
No.
Okay, with that in mind, then we'll go ahead and adjourn this item. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you
much.
all. Good job, everyone.
Thank you. And so our next item